One of the biggest questions I always get is how did I get from 260 to under 200 pounds? And the truth is, I love the process. Now, that doesn't mean that I always like the process. It means that I love the process that I built for myself and the questions that I started asking myself to get over the hump that I was in for a while, for a year and a half. Man, I fluctuated from like 225 to 240, back down to 225 and back up, was because I was so focused on just hitting a goal. Now, when you think about all of the different types of like fasts and diets and things that are out there, the thing they always say is that the results aren't guaranteed. And that's the thing you have to keep in mind. And whatever it is that you do, the results are never guaranteed. So if the results aren't guaranteed, you could at least enjoy the process. The thing I'm always going to come back to on all of these videos is, if this is all we have, if this is the only life we're going to get to live, and we get to set the rules to this life to some extent, right, within the confounds of society, why not do the things that you want to do the most? Why not live a life as the best version of yourself? And so when I decided that I just want to be the best version of myself, I was like, okay, well, maybe this fasting thing will work. So I didn't just jump into fasting and hate it, not know what was going on. I reached out to the only person I knew who had done a long-term fast. And I messaged Stefan Orneo, rest in peace. He had done a 40-day water fast to beat cancer. And I said, like, how'd you get started on this? I mean, obviously, you don't just jump into a 40-day water fast. And he told me about this book, Rational Fasting by Arnold Ehret. And, you know, sometimes people want you to take things as Bible. This dude, Arnold, was a basket case. But there were a lot of things he said in here where I was like, this is interesting. And then I read more stuff, and I read more stuff. And then I had a season of fasting. And then I got to a point where I was like, I don't really know if I want to do the fasting anymore. And I started kind of doing a different type of exercise. Like during this time, I was doing some yoga. I was going to core power. And then there were times that I was, you know, lifting weights. And then there were times I was focusing more on the running. And then when I started hitting certain goals, I started putting all of those things together. The main thing was I was asking myself, you know, at the end of the day, from age 17 or let's say 15 to 25, when I realized, God, what happened to me? I realized that I had just lived life for those last 10 years, just kind of floating around, just drifting. But what happens if from 25 to 35, I was the best version of myself? Like every day that I woke up, I was asking myself, okay, how can we recalibrate? How can we do something different? Like Jordan Peterson says, like, sometimes it's you set the goal, you like with Geppetto, like wished on a star. Maybe it wasn't the right star, but you start heading on the journey. You see it. You're like, I know I want to get there. And after you go a couple miles or a couple days, you're like, I don't know if this was the right way, or maybe it's time to take this exit. And then you stop and you recalibrate, and then you start moving again. But like, this is life. It's flowing. It's beautiful. It's great. So find a way to do what it is that you want to do. Don't do things just because other people did them. Don't fast just because I fasted, or lift or stretch or whatever. Like, be the best version of what you want to be. What happened for me was I realized I wanted to be the best in 3 categories I'd never been. I wanted to be the most flexible I'd ever been. I wanted to be cardiovascularly in the best shape I'd ever been. So I wanted to get below a 6-minute mile. And I wanted to be able to lift more weights than I ever had before. When I started, I was running me and my buddy Rashad went on a run. I ran for a little bit less than 2 miles at an 11-minute pace. I was dying. I was about to throw up. And so far, I think at my peak, I ran just below like a sub 6-minute mile. And then I ran like another 10 miles at an 8-minute pace. Like, I am so beyond even what I was in high school and college. It's ridiculous when it comes to running. But at the same time, like, I can put my forehead on my knees when I stretch. I'm getting closer to being able to do a split, which is a goal that I have. When I'm lifting weights, I'm lifting more weights than I did when I was in college or in high school, when I was actually on a plan. The thing was, it wasn't enough for me to just do one thing. It was about, what does the best version of Django look like? And what can I read and study and learn about that might give me one up on that best version of myself? So every day when I wake up, whether it's on work or it's on my health or whatever, it's like, what can I do? What can I read? What can I do today to make myself 1% better? And it's beautiful when you can start asking yourself these great questions, because again, like I said before, the quality of your life oftentimes can be correlated to the quality of the questions that you're asking, and that also includes the questions that you ask yourself. Like, take a minute and think to yourself about the questions that you've asked of yourself this year and what answers you've come up with. Because I know for a time period, I asked myself questions and I never found the answers. I never searched for them. I just said, like, man, wouldn't it be cool if I could do this? Yeah, it'd be cool. And then that was the end of it. Or I would say, like, man, I really want to lose weight. And then I'd find some answer that someone said, and then I wouldn't do any reading on it. I'd just do it. And so what if every day, we got 24 hours, what if every day you asked yourself a question and you really looked for the answer? You really searched to try to find the best answer for yourself at this time. And then the next day you ask the same question to see if you got some more information that maybe starts pointing you in another direction. Maybe shows, maybe I should recalibrate, maybe we switch. Imagine being willing to be open to change pace however you need to. It's beautiful. Now, you don't always like it, but you will learn to love this process and be able to look back 2 years ago. Now, for me, like, I have 8 more years of a process of the first question that I asked myself, which was, what would life look like if every day I tried to beat my best version of myself? I technically can't beat it, but I can get there. I can be it. I can get a little bit closer, because if I move 1 inch farther every day, I will, after 100 years, be a lot farther than if I went nowhere. Because really, there is no just nowhere. You just be moving back. So to conclude this long video of craziness, the journey is about asking the right questions. And that's something I want to support you on. The thing that I'm able to do in my consulting is help people ask themselves the right questions and give some additional information, because for the last 2 years, I've been fighting to find the right answers every day. The right answers for me. And who knows what the right answers are for you? Only you do. It's just trapped in you, and you have to find it. So, as you continue on this journey, maybe you want to fast with me. We got 5 days coming up. It's going to be wonderful. If you do 1 day, if you do 12 hours, if you do 5 days, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful journey. I'm excited for you. As always, I love you. I believe in you. I look forward to continue on this journey together.